I hate long intros, so here is the TLDR. I am drawing 10 random names, we pick their models up out of the submission list, and then me and some other nerdy Heroforges recreate their characters with our own styles and ideas. Let's go. Here we go, wheel spinning time. This is where the fun begins. So the rules will be the same as last time. I will do 10 draws in total, the first 3 of which will be reworked by myself, and then the next 7 will be done by my chosen community modeleers. And who is it gonna be? Who's gonna be the first winner? Oh, I can't even see the text, it's too small this time, man. Oh, it's Crazy Scales, congratulations. Now, this first model is an orc chef called Taffy. The skin must stay green, the nose must stay red, but otherwise I have a fair bit of creative freedom with this character. Now, perhaps most notable about this concept is that it's wearing a magical chef's hat that once belonged to a halfling chef, which, if you've seen my D&D videos before, it does sound just a little bit familiar, doesn't it? Anyway, look, we'll do something funky with that later, be patient. First on the agenda here was obviously making a face. Like, there were no particular notes on this front, so I kinda just went with the flow and creating something that I thought looked cool. It's my first time doing an orc with the face customizer system, so if nothing else, it was also at least a learning experience for me. Now, for those who saw my creation of Hamhunch, the halfling chef, in my old D&D video, rest in peace by the way, you know I love creating chefs in Heroforge. This is something that's really fun about stacking all kinds of edibles on top of a character, and since this character, at least in my own headcanon, is haunted by Hamhunch in particular, I'm going to throw down as many of them as I can. Apples, onions, fish, cheese, barrels, yada yada yada. Now, you may be wondering why there is a floating chef's hat on screen, and yes, I am using the invisible body glitch on the second model to get a floating hat. This is because I really want to put focus on that cursed magical chef's hat, and I want to custom pose it on top of this orc's head. It will be a shame to sacrifice the entire second model for it, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Now, coloring this model is going to be a lot of fun. It was requested I keep the chef's attire, so I'm not getting rid of the apron, but I am planning on making that cloak over his shoulder look like a picnic blanket, and on top of all that, I've also got all of this really colorful food on him, right? So this model is going to be able to check off every single color in the alphabet by the time I'm done. I also ended up having to recreate a lot of food-specific colors in this model, so I mean, like, if you're in need of a whole library of custom fruit and vegetable colors, you can go into the description below and pick up the model link if you want to grab them all. Finally, it's time to get back to the cursed chef's hat. I'm giving it some decals with spooky glow undertone, and I'm also going to be making the orc's face a little asymmetrical, as though the chef's hat is kind of warping the one half of his head that it's trying to consume. Now, like, this may all be going a little bit far with the creative freedom on my end, but like, doing twists on concept like this is kind of the whole point of these videos. So if I wasn't doing it, it'd be kind of boring. All in all, I am very happy that I drew this as my first model. It gave me some good Hamhunch nostalgia, and I mean, generally, like, look, I like working with concepts where I can easily throw in a lot of color and detail without having to stress too much, and with all that said, it's time to move on to the next draw. Alright, let's get some more names. Who shall it be? 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 Meerkat Man, congratulations! This model is called the Royal Alchemist, and it is a bit of a mix of a few different concepts. Like, not only is it an alchemist, but it's also a regal coat-wearing, semi-armored gunslinger who is extremely agile and shoots magic out of his pistols. So I guess I have like a fair bit to work with, but the absolute first thing that I'm going to be adding to this character is a bunch of burn scars. This is for no other reason than my own personal preference, and since this character works with alchemy and magical fire, I feel like it makes sense that he may have had some accidents in his days. However, most of these will be hidden by the time the model is done. Most of this character's face will be covered by glasses and beard anyway, so truly the face customizer I'm doing here doesn't really matter that much, but I ended up kind of recreating, you know, like a fairly standard, generic looking sharp-edged character. As for the pose, this part was pretty important to get right, since the creator said that this character's agility and like backflips while shooting anime shtick is essential, right? So therefore I keep things relatively the same as the original pose, but instead of a second pistol, I'm adding this big vial here to convey the active motion of the character. And you can bet that we're also gonna be slapping a whole bunch of horn hair as well later on to further convey movement. Now, it was requested that I also keep the color scheme the same, but like, I'll be real, the color scheme on the original model is literally just red and gold all over the place. But relax, okay, I will honor that. There will be a lot of red and gold, but I am going to mix in a few other things as well to keep it a little bit more balanced. One of the main differences that I'm implementing here from the original is I'm just kind of trying to slim down all of the clothing and these pieces of armor here. Like, that is purely my own preference because I just don't like the chunky cartoony style on things, so it's just something you kind of have to live with if I'm the one who's reworking for you. This here is my favorite kind of horn hair to create. Like, there's nothing huge or crazy about this at all, just a bunch of tiny little flicks in one direction or another to portray a character's movement or the direction of the wind or whatever. Like, and best of all, when they're this small, this kind of thing is very, very easy to recreate without any big trouble whatsoever. Predictably, I am going standard double model with this one. The reason being is I intend to slim down certain parts of the clothing, such as the boots, as well as create one of my usual favorite chest piece combinations with the biker jacket. You've probably all seen this before, like, I do these combos a lot, but they are perfect for this kind of character. One of the issues I had here was this color of the biker jacket being a monocolor blue, which didn't fit with the rest of the outfit. So I actually ended up using 2 decal kit bashings to carefully add 2 yellow lines, just so that it barely fit with the trim that the rest of the character's outfit had. Now, I won't lie, this is very, very awkward. It can be hard to get exactly right, but like, sometimes you have no choice. I know, we just have some very small finishing touches before we wrap this one up. Like, again, this model is honestly not that complex, right? Like, I debated smacking on a bunch of extra arms and tails, maybe stacking with more vials or creating some magical floating effects around the pistol or whatever, but like, I will be real, I don't really feel like it would actually add much to this character. It's meant to be a royal alchemist, right? So keeping him presentable and somewhat grounded and plain also makes sense in and of itself, but in any case, let's move on. And here we go again, alright, let's spin the wheel. I love this part, I love just watching the wheels spin, it's so much fun. I wish I could see the names that are coming up, but there's just too many this time around. Congratulations, T3 Leaf. So this is Eden, a Sun Soul fist-fighting monk in a Barovia campaign, which if I'm not mistaken, is Curse of Strahd, right? But honestly, I've never played that, so I don't know much about it other than that there's an evil vampire involved. Anyway, this model is bound to be quite straightforward because it has been requested that I keep it quite simple and low fantasy to fit in with the gritty Transylvanian setting it is in. The only element of actual like high fantasy here is bound to be in the so-called Sun Soul monk parts of the concept. It was requested, for example, that I keep the fiery glowing ends of the hair, and from that I also intend on expanding that concept just a little to to certain parts of the skin as well. As I mentioned, it was requested that I keep the color scheme quite similar to the original model, so I'm going to be sticking with a lot of plain whites and beiges and maroons here, but honestly, like, I'm not going to complain about having to do a simple outfit, especially not after the literal bucket of crimson I had to drop on the previous model. These ribbons here were kind of a test to see how far I could go without adding extra detail that I felt looked appropriately monkey without, you know, making it all too flashy, but like, I'll be real, I went way too far with them to begin with, and you'll soon see me start phasing them out again or shifting them around to be something else entirely. Now we're at the part where we can start filling the model out with the tiny details, you know, extra rings to bulk out these gloves, extra gear items like potions at the belt, which is another opportunity to smack on a bit of much needed color, you know, like these things add up. With this final blob of horn hair, I believe this model is more or less done. Like, the most difficult part of this one was probably just figuring out a way to make it look cool without dragging it too far from the original concepts, as it was quite a grounded model to begin with, but like by now I honestly, I don't feel forced to make it overly flashy anyway, so I'm quite content with this. Alright, here we go. Let's get our fourth name. I'm ready and waiting. Come on, I'm praying. Who's it gonna be? I can't see. I still can't see. It's too small. Tsa706. Congratulations. And here he is, Smokey, a low-level D&D Echo Knight fighter by Tsa. And here is that same bugbear by Cheese. Special thanks to Cheese, by the way, for helping me arrange this entire submission thing, and as well as just being, you know, one of the reworkers. Now, Cheese, I think, has a style I've always been very fond of. It's kind of similar to mine in, like, I mean, you can kind of see, like, the use of, like, red and blue to make a character who's otherwise very, like, very low fantasy pop and stand out a little bit more. And, you know, I would, however, argue that Cheese is more creative than I am when it comes to using specific items to achieve certain effects, like this magic spell here. If I bring back the posing, you'll see that this magic spell is actually used as cloth to make this arm look chunkier, and that's the kind of thing that I've never really fully mastered, and Cheese is amazing at it. But really the highlight of this is, since this is an Echo Knight, I think, and this is the smartest decision that Cheese made with this, rather than just clipping 2 models to make it as detailed as possible, Cheese actually made this second, like, actual echo of the character behind him. And of all the ways to, like, expand on the original concept, I think absolutely this was the way to do it. And I mean, it's just beautiful, like the coloring, like, it's not even transparent, but it doesn't need to be, because this character is called Smokey, right? So it looks like a smoky version of, well, Smokey. So I mean, beyond just the posing being superb, the clothing and the coloring being superb, the echo itself, the smoke being superb, I mean, this one is just like top tier. I have absolutely no complaints. It's a banger rework. This is exactly what I want to see, so well done. Let's move on. Let's get ourselves a 5th name now. Who shall it be? I love watching the wheel spin. It never gets old. I wish I could see the name. It's gonna be the yellow. Yeah, Captain Pixel. Congratulations, Captain Pixel. And by Captain Pixel we have Astora Stillness, which is, you know, a red-haired elf character, you know. And you can imagine, I mean, if you're familiar with some of the more well-known names in my community, I gave this one to Second Breakfast, and you'll see why in a second. And here we have the same character by then Second Breakfast, whose niche is basically to make, like, red-haired pretty elf female characters. Look, I mean, we're all gonna have, like, the one thing we're really good at making, right? Now, besides just being really great at using, like, horn hairs and making custom armor with these items clipping through the clothing, etc., I believe this model is also using a glitch that Second Breakfast is very fond of. Yeah, this. So Second Breakfast believes that models in Heroforge, they have this issue where the legs are too short, and because of that they use basically 2 models, one floating body and one pair of legs without a body, which are then longer or have a different pose, that are then posed together to give it this, like, more sleek and lanky look. And then of course there's a floating sword, so that both of the hands can have this, like, loose posture that's not actually, like, wrapped around the blade, so it looks like the sword is just resting very neatly. And of course, like, as per usual with Second Breakfast models, the colors and all the clothes is just spot on. I mean, like, look at the pattern here. This is just some superb coloring work. Here we go. Let's get ourselves a 6th name. Why is the wheel so blue specifically here, but, like, evenly colored everywhere else? That makes no sense. M.A. Netanel? I have no idea how to pronounce that, but congratulations. So this is Ashton by M.A. Netanel, who is this kind of, like, edgy... I mean, this is also a D&D character. I think it's some kind of, like, grave cleric. You know, it's got the scythe and the dark armor and the grey color scheme and all this stuff going on. And I give this model to Laughing Jackal, who is a very creative community modeleer. Now, I'll be real, it said in the description from M.A. Netanel, the creator of the model, that Laughing Jackal, or whoever reworked this model, could basically do whatever they wanted with him. But I feel like Laughing Jackal has perhaps stayed a little bit, like, too true to the original model. Like, knowing the kind of things that Laughing Jackal can do, I don't think this fully utilizes their skill set. Now, that's not to say that this model is unimpressive by any means. You can actually see some really crazy cool glitch work. Like, this custom scyther is probably the highlight of the whole model, right? Like, you have a floating little sword here. I don't know if it's on the main or the extra model, but there's a floating sword here that is then got also a dagger with feathers sticking up here, which is all floated outwards on top of the end of a staff to make a custom scythe. And it looks cooler than any scythe you could actually get in normal Heroforge, so for sure that is very, very impressive. And the model is pretty clean otherwise as well. I mean, you have this metal here with the cloth flipped into it, and another cloth here. You have more of those feather daggers sticking out of the shoulders. If I just quickly cancel all the advanced posing, you will see what happens with everything. So yeah, here you go. Here are all those little arms being used for, like, skulls that are being added to the pattern, and the weapons and the feathers and the cloths and everything else, and if I just quickly reset that back again, you have this. But I feel like where I really feel like the biggest missed opportunity is like in the head. Like this face has, as you can see here, if I look at the special options, there are very few actual face customizer edits being made here. Like a lot of these options are just like as bare bones as they can be, and there's also no horn hair going on. Like this model has no horns, which in my opinion is almost like a sin. I mean, you could ask Second Breakfast, right? Like if you can do horn hair, you do horn hair. So I think that Laughing Jackal did some things extremely cool, like this thing with the scythe here, and then I think that it was a few missed opportunities here, especially around the head. Like there's a lot more you can do when the person who gave you the model says you can do whatever you want with him, and especially when it's like an old man character who doesn't need to be like a pretty anime doll. That's when you go wild, you know, that's when you have fun. So there are pros and cons with this one, I'll be real, but either way, it is a cool model. The scythe is S tier, awesome, well done. Moving on. Seventh name, here we go, alright. I'm ready and waiting. Who will it be? Come on. Give me something juicy, something spicy, please. Oh, is it actually? It's Bobo Estabo. That's an old timer from the Discord. I'm not even mad. You deserve that. It turns out I am actually mad, because this is Bobo's model. It's not really a model at all. It is the most turbo glitch abomination I think I've potentially ever seen in Heroforge. It is essentially a building with a tiny little shrunk figure standing in front of it, trying to get into this chapel of pure evil, I suppose. And I will be real, like when I saw that we'd drawn this, I was like, because here's the thing, they were memeing about this in the Discord when this model was posted. Bobo posted this intentionally to try and punish the reworkers and make their life hell. And a few of the reworkers specifically said, I pray that I don't get Bobo. And yeah, apparently Bobo was still drawn. But no, screw you, Bobo. We're not gonna rework this. I don't think anybody wants to see a reworked version of this, to be completely honest. So, in fact, instead of completely ruining the life of one of my modeleers, I would be reworking this like this. Hold on, let me fix this real quick. I'm gonna remove the color real quick. I'm gonna remove the colors and the decals. Give me a second, and then we're gonna smack on the themes. Hold on. And then some more themes. Yeah, that one looks really nice, I think. And then boom. Damn, that is so cool. I love Heroforge themes. The default colors are great. I'm waiting. I'm hyped. Let's see it. Come on. It's gonna be a pain to edit these all out separately later, but whatever. I have no idea what this means. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce this, but congratulations, whatever you are, abomination name, you win. And here, by the person whose name I'm not going to try and pronounce, is Fjellbeard Giant Friends, which is basically just a huge giant female Goliath stone lady thing, which I gave to Rainer. I don't know how to pronounce that name. And I mean, you can see that they did kind of go all out with the muscles. They've even got like these chopped off arms here to add like extra muscle like layers onto the arm. If I move them around a little bit, you'll see what that is. Yeah, so here is one piece of muscle here, and probably more on the main model. Yeah, if I move the main arm. Yeah, and then we have a few other... Yeah, you can see all these little like stumpy cut-off arms all clipped into one to make this extra muscular arm. There's obviously some very nice face customizer work done here. I mean, the expression is pretty spot on, sorry. The posing is very, you know, flexy. This is a nice touch with a little decal here. So yeah, the posing is spot on, and there's some really creative methods used to make this like extra Goliathy, extra chunky, muscular lady-esque character. Now if I want to try and find something negative in this model, something to complain about, it would probably be that I feel like some of these colors could be more saturated, and I get why they aren't. I mean, it's like a Goliath barbarian, but like a lot of these could use like a little bit more metallization, I think. Also, this is a nice shoulder pad clipped into the cloth here to give it that nice little spiky edge. And of course the ribbons perfectly clipped in with this arm thing here floating behind. It's a very nice use of all the little ribbons and cloths in general. Oh, and there's also a decal kit bashing on the hammer here to give it this rune pattern, which has been very carefully shaped around it as well to make it fit, so that is also very impressive. Yeah, good model all around. Very few complaints. And another one. Who shall it be? I'm waiting. I'm betting it's gonna be a red name. I guarantee it's gonna be red. Oh, am I right? Come on. Yes! I win. I'm not competing with anyone this time, but I win. Congratulations, Courier Sandy. So here we have Rain Becker, who is this kind of low medieval fancy gladiator freedom fighter-esque character by Courier Sandy. I, of course, gave this model immediately to Roosta, and if you don't know who Roosta is, I would argue that they are the absolute best person in the community at making like low fantasy medieval knights. Roosta has pioneered like 50 million different techniques into making chainmail, and I don't like, look at this. This is obviously not an item. This is custom made chainmail, probably made out of like some bird's wings or something that's clipped into the model. I don't know. Roosta always has new things. He's used literal baskets to make chainmail in the past, so you can understand why I gave this one to Roosta. Now for starters, you can see some very nice like details used, like the flipped over like little knife scabbard to make the sword hilt look cooler. There's something, I think a little shield clipped into the chest piece. I give that some custom detail, that's otherwise not possible as well. As always with Roosta, there's a custom helmet with all kinds of little horns and probably twisted face customizer things and rings sticking out here to make the face guard. I need to know what this is. I need to like, yeah, so I imagine those are eyebrow rings. Yeah, I think they're eyebrow rings on another face whose features have been twisted forwards. Like Roosta has made some really crazy helmets. Let me just cancel the advanced posing on these real quick. Oh my god, extra main. There's so much random. Yeah, look at all the bunny ears. Are the bunny ears what makes the chainmail? No, surely it can't be. Yeah, look, like I said, there's the wings of a bird here, I think, that must be used to create the chainmail. It has to be something like that. Oh wait, okay, so hold on, there's a little drum back here. I think the drum was being used in the middle of the chest piece to pattern the armor out. Yeah, I mean, look, specifically in this area, there's no one in the community who can beat Roosta. It's just like, it's almost too crazy for me to even try and dissect. Like, half of these methods I could not replicate, even if I was spending hours and hours and hours trying to. So yeah, well done. I do not regret bringing Roosta into this. This is awesome. And one more name for the road, hopefully. Who shall it be? It's gonna be a blue name, 100%. No, we went past the blue shit. I mean, I wonder what kind of model might this be for us to rework. And here is True Master Thorn, and I guess this is just like, I mean, to me it looks like a very, there's a lot of glows and like what I would call annoying transparencies and stuff on this model. I'm not a huge fan of things like that. Like, it, in my opinion, it would be cooler if only the magic had those effects, and then the rest of the model would be like more corporeal. But I sense the opportunity for some flashy stuff here, so I gave this one to the tried and tested Guitar. Now, you can't say I didn't say there was an opportunity for something flashy. I mean, Getter obviously chose to change it from purple to green. I imagine that was fine though, judging by the description of it all. Now, Getter loves to do this thing where he adds like another element to it altogether. In this case, obviously, this character's a victim, and you have here this absolutely terrified soldier, or whatever he is, with all of that amazing face customizer and decal work done on him. And he is just completely enveloped in all these like little flames that I believe are mostly like magical spells, as well as tails, which are colored to be like magic, so they're attached to the actual soldier, but it's meant to look like it's coming from the Plague Doctor-esque character. And speaking of, I mean, the true highlight, if you can notice it past all the green, is this custom mask with all the horns. And like, if I reset all the face, oh. Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to actually remove the face, but apparently there's a little penguin in there. I don't know what the purpose of that is. Is that always for these like little extra wings up here? I didn't know that if I remove the face, you just see this like little tiny eagle or falcon or whatever it is. But yeah, that's cool. And the horn work is just amazing to create like this sharp shape here. The lantern is a very, very nice touch on top of it all as well. And like, this is all entirely ignoring the character's own clothing and the decal work going on it. Because I mean, like, let's be honest, as with most Getter pieces, it's like, it's the bigger picture that tends to be the coolest part. And this is cool. I mean, like, Getter always delivers. This is a banger for sure. Now, before I move on, I do just want to quickly reset the posing on both of these. Just, yeah, yeah, now you can see all those little like magic tails sticking out there. And look, he's holding the bird. The bird is there. It's ready to help. The one-winged bird. I like it. Yeah, this is soulful. I'm glad I found that. Right, well, I know I said last one was the last one, but since Bobo trolled us, this is the 11th one now, and this is the actual last one, so let's see, what's it gonna be? Bigfoot, alright. So here is Dimitri by Bigfoot, and it's just this kind of like vampire-esque bard. I think it's actually a Dhampir, but whatever, I don't know the difference. And now there was a lot of creative freedom being given with this one, so I gave it to the Juice, which is a weird name, don't ask me, but the Juice has a good track record for making like big evil-esque looking humanoids look really cool, so I thought this would fit, and I am not disappointed. Like, I'll be real, it looks like just like it basically looks like the evil dad of the character in its previous iteration, right? And like some of these things I don't even know what they are. There's so much custom stuff in this chest piece. Like, just look at this entire area and try and tell me what all these things are. I mean, there's gloves sticking out here, that's something. There's an arm here, there's something here. I don't know what these things are. Like, I need to reset the posing on this to just see what the hell I'm looking at. Oh, so these skulls are probably part of the armor. That's probably the main thing that's adding all that detail, yeah. So it's a very big, majestic, like evil and detailed looking version of this vampire. You could argue it looking a little bit less like a bard and a little bit more like a vampire lord, but hey, I mean, the person who submitted it did say we can go wild and do whatever we wanted, so I think this is a banger. Looks like something straight out of Castlevania, to be honest. But yeah, no, awesome work, especially this entire custom chest piece with like the skulls being used to decorate stuff up here. Like, I wanna learn this technique because this is some cool shit. Now, if you've made it this far, thank you all for watching. These rework videos take a long time and a lot of effort to make, so if you liked this video, please press like, and if you didn't like this video, then by all means press dislike. Links to all of these models will be in the description below, along with the link to the Discord server if you want to participate in future rework videos like these. Now, goodbye until next time.